I'm Ethel Andrews. I'm a mixologist, as you know, and welcome to Good Libations, which is our famous program about mixology and making truly fine drinks with fresh ingredients. And again, we're doing a series of drinks with brandy, which has been neglected for a long time as a liquor of choice for mixology. And it's unfortunate because you can drink brandy straight, you can drink it in coffee and make various different coffee drinks, but you can also make some really creative, really innovative cocktails using brandy. And on one episode, we made a Singapore Sling, which primarily is considered a gin-based drink, but it also involves brandy and involves various different varieties of cordials and liqueurs, as we know. And as we know too from watching that episode, I personally like to use cherry hearing in that particular drink. And the brandy classic cocktail that we're going to make today, and literally that's what it's called. In fact, Trader Vic's popularized it in the 60s and 50s, involves the use of a bit of cherry hearing. And again, it is a lovely cocktail. And cherry hearing is a cordial that I particularly have a love for, as I mentioned on my episode about Singapore Slings. Yeah, cherry hearing is actually made in Denmark by Peter Hearing, whoever he may be. And I don't know exactly how they make this liqueur, but it has a flavor that is unsurpassed by any other liqueur or cordial. And it cannot be imitated. I've had other cherry-based liqueurs and also those cherry syrups that sometimes are used along with, Italian sodas and so forth. And nothing even comes close to cherry hearing. It is wonderful. And again, they must really macerate those cherries and use other ingredients to make it the unique cordial that it is. And again, we're going to make what is called a classic brandy cocktail today, incorporating brandy and cherry hearing and various other ingredients. And what we're going to do first of all is, it's nice, I think, to use an old-fashioned glass for this cocktail, but you can use other glassware if you wish. You can even use a martini glass if you wish, but I personally think the old-fashioned glass is the way to go. And we're going to use the shaker to make this drink because I think that is the best way to go with this particular cocktail. So bear with me as I get my ice the clumsy way again. We know that other people have mentioned that it's nicer when you have a table, you can grab your ice handily and so forth. And that may be, but realistically speaking, if you're doing any type of an event, you're going to do lots of bending over for ice. So that's just the way it is. It may not look good, but it's the reality of mixology and bartending. So here we go. Just enough ice in here to marry the ingredients and to give it a nice chill. And again, you can have this drink any time of the year like you would a martini or a martini variant. But it can be a very refreshing and pleasant drink to have in the summer. And the nice thing about this cocktail too is you don't have to add any sugar to it or simple syrup because the ingredients that are used in it provide enough sweetness and residual sugar, so to speak, that it's already in there. So here we go. We're going to add our brandy first of all. And again, this is not some expensive brandy that you go out and, spend a ton of money for. And certainly it is not a cognac. And it's kind of the same principle when you barbecue hamburgers. If you want a truly good hamburger, you're going to get meat that has a good ratio of fat to meat. In other words, you're going to get cheaper hamburger meat. If you get one that is more expensive, that has less ratio of fat to meat, you're going to have dried out, tasteless burgers. So the same thing if you're mixing drinks. It is actually better to use a more modestly priced liquor than a top shelf one that is meant to be consumed by itself and not mixed with something else. So again, it's a very modest brand of brandy. And again, we're going to add our cherry hearing. which, like I said, is one of my very favorite cordials. And a lot of times people say, you know, you rarely measure, I don't know how much to put in. Well, the ratio, roughly speaking, should be half the amount of whatever you choose to put in of the brandy. The cherry herring should be roughly half the amount. And if you want to use, you know, a measure, a jigger or the shaker top, you can, you know, as the medium to do that. But again, I usually prefer to free pour when I make my cocktails. And again, with this drink, as is similar with the Singapore Sling, we want to add a bit of lemon, fresh lemon, and just a bit, not a gigantic amount of it that's going to overpower the alcohol. So we're going to do that, and we're going to leave the spent shell in the shaker. And then we're going to do the same thing again with lime, just a bit of lime. And we're going to add, again, just a bit of maraschino juice, mainly to give it color. And again, you can also use maraschino liqueur if you wish. It's expensive, but it does add that maraschino flavor if that's what you wish to do. But I don't find that particularly necessary, especially if you're going to use the cherry herring. It's unnecessary. And then we're going to add a bit more orange than we did with our Singapore Sling, fresh orange squeezed in. And again, we want to work in the oil from the peel of all these fruits and drop the spent shell in. And you can add a little bit of triple sec, just to add a little extra orange in there. And then we're going to go ahead and shake it. And we're going to add some ice, some additional ice to the old-fashioned glass. And in this particular case, we're going to take the entire top off the shaker. Going to add a bit of ice. And divest what is in here into the glass. And again, this really produces a lovely cocktail based again on brandy. And if you wish, and I do wish, I'm going to add a maraschino cherry as a garnish. And I'm going to add maybe a wheel of lemon peel, or a wedge perhaps. And again, this is mostly for the sake of garnishing and making the drink attractive. And we're going to add a little bit of the orange zest. Again, mostly for aesthetic appeal, and work a little more oil out of it. And again, we'll see if this drink is as tasty as it sounds. Oh yes, that is really nice. And again, you can taste the brandy, you can taste the cherry herring, and the uniformity and the blending of the ingredients all stand out without one overwhelming the other. And again, it's the balance of the ingredients of this drink that make it what it is. That is why it is called the classic brandy cocktail, because it truly is lovely. And again, that really is nice. Really unique too. This is not a drink that you will tend to find commonly at parties, and certainly not commonly at different favorite watering holes. It's something that you would have to specifically request. And again, we want to emphasize that when we enjoy our good libations and our drinks, that we drink with moderation and sensibleness and show respect for others and for our community. Let's keep our community safe and well spoken of. And I want to thank you again for tuning in to another episode of Good Libations. I'm Ethel Andrews. I'm a mixologist. And we look forward to more episodes. And again, my poor tiki banner is missing in action, but we'll work on that so that we have that return to the show again, because it's kind of a signature and a trademark. So I hope you enjoy this cocktail. Give it a try at home. Thank you again. Goodbye. Lovely.